History remembers the battles, the generals, the grand speeches that echo through the halls of time. We think of Washington crossing the Delaware, the declarations signed with a flourish of a quill. But what if I told you the real turning point, the secret key to the American Revolution's victory, wasn't a general or a politician? What if it came from someone you've likely never heard of? A man who moved in the shadows, who risked everything for a nation that didn't even see him as a full person. This is the story of a spy, the silent hero who truly saved America. His name was James Armistead Lafayette. In the 1780s, he was an enslaved African-American man in Virginia, a time when the very word freedom was a distant, almost impossible dream for someone in his position. But as the war for independence raged, James saw an opportunity not just for himself, but for a new nation. He volunteered to join the Continental Army under the Marquis de Lafayette, but he wasn't going to be a soldier on the front lines. His battlefield would be one of whispers, secrets, and deception. His mission was to become America's most important secret weapon. Posing as a runaway slave, James made his way to the British camp. His convincing performance and sharp intellect quickly earned him the trust of British officers, including the notorious turncoat Benedict Arnold, and even the head of British forces, Lord Cornwallis himself. They saw him as a loyal servant, someone who could guide their troops through the local terrain. Someone who could spy for them on the Americans. They had no idea he was a double agent playing a dangerous game with his life on the line every single second. While serving British generals their wine and polishing their boots, James was listening. He was watching. He absorbed every detail, troop movements, supply routes, strategic plans, and whispers of upcoming attacks. He committed it all to memory, scribbling coded messages on tiny scraps of paper when no one was looking. These weren't just random pieces of information. This was the enemy's entire playbook. He would then slip away under the cover of darkness to pass these invaluable reports to other American spies, who delivered them directly to the Marquis de Lafayette and ultimately to General George Washington. Imagine the pressure, the constant fear of being discovered. One wrong word, one suspicious glance, and it would all be over. He was living a dual life in the most hostile of environments. To the British, he was a useful tool. To the Americans, he was a nameless, faceless source of intelligence. He existed in the shadows, a ghost in the machine of war, with no promise of fame, fortune, or even his own freedom if the Americans won. He was fighting for a liberty that wasn't yet guaranteed to him, a sacrifice of unimaginable proportions. Every secret he uncovered, every piece of intel he passed along, helped save countless lives and tipped the scales of the war. The climax of his espionage career came during the run-up to the pivotal Battle of Yorktown. James provided the most critical intelligence of the entire war. He learned that the British naval fleet was moving to Chesapeake Bay to resupply Cornwallis' trapped army at Yorktown. Armed with this knowledge, Washington and his French allies were able to blockade the bay. cutting off Cornwallis's supplies and his only escape route. This single piece of intelligence, delivered by James, led directly to the British surrender at Yorktown. It was the final, decisive blow that effectively ended the Revolutionary War and secured American independence. Freedom did not come from brute force alone. It was won through courage, cunning, and the silent, thankless work of heroes operating in the dark. The victory that birthed the United States of America was secured by the intelligence provided by an enslaved man who dared to fight for a future he could only imagine. After the war, his fight wasn't over. Due to a law that freed only enslaved people who had served as soldiers, James was not immediately granted his liberty. He had been a spy, not a soldier. It was only after the Marquis de Lafayette personally wrote a letter to the Virginia legislature testifying to James's invaluable service that he was finally granted his freedom. In gratitude, he adopted Lafayette as his last name, becoming James Armistead Lafayette. He lived the rest of his life as a farmer in Virginia, a free man, a husband, and a father. His story is a powerful testament to the forgotten heroes, the individuals whose contributions were not carved into monuments, but were woven into the very fabric of the nation. History may not always remember the names of those who work in the shadows, but their courage echoes through time, reminding us that heroes come in all forms. Thank you for watching. If you want to uncover more stories of forgotten voices who changed the world, be sure to subscribe and join us on our journey through history.